So a karyotype is basically a picture of the chromosomes that are found in a cell. And um, sometimes a karyotype is made of cells that are um, sampled from amniotic fluid. So remember, a developing fetus is surrounded by an amniotic sac that's filled with fluid. And sometimes a doctor will take a sample of that fluid with a long needle. And that fluid has within it cells from the fetus. And they can then look at the chromosomes that are present in those cells. Remember, those cells, the normal number of chromosomes in human body cells, including the fetus, are 46. And so what they do is they take a picture of those chromosomes and then arrange them. We know that the chromosomes come in pairs, uh, and so we can see them arranged here. So here's a karyotype. We can see these chromosomes are not replicated, but each one is a chromosome. They're arranged by size. The longest set of chromosomes is number 1. The shortest is number 22. And the chromosomes are stained, so they have this pattern of banding on them that helps the uh, technician to sort them accordingly. And you can see sometimes they're bent over here, but they're still the same chromosomes. They just happen to be bent a little bit. And when looking at this picture of the chromosomes, we can gather some information. We know that in a healthy cell, there should be 46 chromosomes. If there's more or less than 46 chromosomes, that could mean there's some sort of chromosome abnormalities. We can also look at the sex chromosomes. Remember, there's 23 pairs of chromosomes, 22 what we call, there's one set of chromosomes that are important in determining the sex of the fetus after it's born. They're called the sex chromosomes, and there's two potential sex chromosomes that can be present, an X chromosome and a Y chromosome. And as we talked about earlier in our notes, the determination of sex and gender identity is much more complicated than just which two sex chromosomes an individual gets. Okay, and but we still need to talk a little bit about that, even though it's simplified and it's not. There's more complexity to the determination of gender than just these two sex chromosomes. They are instructive. The majority of people that have two X chromosomes um, identify as female, have female anatomy and secondary sex characteristics, and XY are typical male sex chromosomes. The Y chromosome, so the X chromosome is sort of a full-size chromosome, as we can see here. The Y chromosome is actually a small chromosome. It carries very little genetic information in it. And so by looking at these sex chromosomes that are present, we can get an idea about the sex of the child. And so these karyotypes are created, and we can see some examples of different information that we can tell. So we can see in this is sort of the generic, typical karyotype. There's 46 total chromosomes, 23 pairs. You can see the pairs. So each of one of these chromosomes in this individual came from the mother and one came from the father. Same thing for the second set of chromosomes and the third, etc. Here we can see something. So this karyotype in the lower right-hand corner shows a person. Again, we can see the chromosome set up, but we notice something's a little bit different. We notice that there's actually 23 of this 21st chromosome. Okay, and that's an abnormality. This is called trisomy 21. There's three 21st chromosomes. And having an extra chromosome presents some difficulties for a person that has that extra chromosome. And we call the set of those characteristics that are present when a person has extra 21st chromosome, we call that Down syndrome. A person with Down syndrome was born with an extra 21st chromosome. And how would that happen? Well, during meiosis, when sperm or egg cells are being produced, if you remember, pairs of chromosomes line up during metaphase 1, and the pairs of chromosomes get separated. Well, if one of those pairs of chromosomes doesn't separate, and instead both of them go to one side or the other, what that results in is an egg cell or a sperm cell that has an extra chromosome in it. And if that sperm or egg cell is the one that produces a zygote through fertilization, then that zygote will have an extra chromosome. And that zygote, when it grows and develops into a fetus and is born, it will be a person that has an extra 21st chromosome in every cell. And that's what results in Down syndrome. And having Down syndrome results in different developmental and physical challenges that a person has. It's not Down syndrome is not the only chromosome abnormality. There are others as well. This is Klinefelter syndrome. Person has two X chromosomes and a Y, so again, an extra chromosome. Here we have another person with Turner syndrome. They have an X chromosome, but no Y chromosome. There can be trisomy 13, an extra 13th chromosome. And so there are some examples. Down syndrome is by far the most common of these. We call them non-disjunction abnormalities because the chromosomes did not separate properly. So we can see here another example. We can see the three 21st chromosomes here. And we can see sort of, because the chromosomes on them contain many, many genes. And so having an extra chromosome results in in a whole host of different characteristics that we think of as typical with a person with Down syndrome. We can see some of those characteristics are listed here because of this extra chromosome. We can also see sometimes there are other chromosome abnormalities that take place, and we can see that here. We can see that a section of one chromosome can actually break off and be transferred to another chromosome. It's called translocation. Okay. Here we have extra X chromosome that we saw earlier. So you're going to be doing an activity which you're going to simulate creating some of these karyotype diagrams. They were once done using actual photographs. They would actually take a photograph through a microscope of the chromosomes and then actually cut them out, paste them onto a piece of paper so that you can see them and arrange them properly. Today, it's done with computers, but you can sort of simulate that process in the activity that you're going to be doing today.